And did you know that cayenne pepper can heal a stomach ulcer? Black pepper can't, chili pepper can't, only...
Hello, I'm Barbara O'Neill, and today we're diving into a topic that could truly transform your health, your gut. Did you know that the trillions of tiny bacteria in your gut hold the key to vitality, energy, and even clearer thinking? Together, let's explore how probiotics can restore balance and reignite your body's natural healing power. Before we begin, I'm curious about you. Where are you watching from? Let me know in the comments, and feel free to ask any questions you might have.
Tonight, where we're going to go on a journey. I'm going to take you on a journey through your gastrointestinal tract. We're going to start with the mouth, and we're going to end up at the other end. Your gastrointestinal tract is a hollow tube, and anything that goes into that hollow tube is not part of you or me until it gets broken down to tiny substances, absorbed into the blood, then it becomes part of you and me. And last night when we looked at the liver, we had a look at what happens when it gets absorbed into the blood. We actually followed the journey of how it gets into the cell. But tonight we're going to have a look at the amazing process that transforms the food that's on your plate to microscopic little substances that then gets absorbed into the blood. So this hollow tube, anything that is in it is not part of you or me until it gets into the blood. Because the Bible says that the blood is the life of the flesh. Now in Australia we have a lot of sheep, and they're born with tails, and what the farmer does is he puts a little rubber ring around that tail, the base of the tail, and eventually the tail falls off. Why does the tail fall off? Because that little ring has stopped the blood. So that's why the blood's called the life of the flesh. The flesh is only alive because it's being bathed with blood. And in our next lecture, where we look at the immune system, we'll be looking in a little bit more detail at the blood. What an amazing thing it is.
So as I was saying, digestion begins in the mouth, where an alkaline environment starts breaking down starches with salivary enzymes. But here's where it gets fascinating. The journey down the gastrointestinal tract depends heavily on the balance of gut flora. Probiotics, or friendly bacteria like Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium bifidum, play an essential role in maintaining this balance. These bacteria are responsible for finalising the breakdown of nutrients, aiding absorption into the bloodstream, and protecting the gut lining from harmful pathogens. Restoring these probiotics through fermented foods like sauerkraut or yogurt can significantly improve gut health, energy levels, and overall digestion.
But let's begin by taking you on a journey through your gastrointestinal tract. So notice that the main hole in is the mouth. And here it is up here. The mouth is the first organ, and most people don't realise that digestion begins in the mouth, and the pH in the mouth is alkaline. So what are the enzymes that are released in the mouth? One enzyme is ptyalin, and ptyalin is called a salivary amylase because ptyalin breaks down starch. Or you could call that carbohydrate. So what is starch? Starch is anything like bread, pasta, cereal, cakes, biscuits, things like that. Potatoes, they're all your starch. So ptyalin is the salivary amylase that begins the breakdown of starch. There is no ptyalin in the mouth of a baby. And the first teeth that a baby gets, 4 at the top and 4 at the bottom. And those teeth are called milk teeth. They're called milk teeth because that's the main food that babies should have. But it's also taste time. This is a good time for baby to suck on a piece of apple, suck on a gum away, maybe have little bits out of a celery stick or a stick of cucumber. And I remember we were eating at my daughter's place in Tasmania. It was the middle of winter and it was very cold, and she had a fire in the lounge room, so we put a sheet on the lounge room floor and we ate our meal there. And her little 10-month-old baby, what did that baby want to do? That baby wanted to do what we were doing. and yet the baby's only got 4 teeth. And so my daughter said, "What'll I do, Mum?" I said, "Give the baby one of those steamed green beans." And that little baby sat there so happy, thinking that it's doing everything that we're doing. And it took half an hour for that baby to get through 1 centimetre of that steamed green bean, and little bits are all over the place. Do you know, that's taste time. But baby's main food should be milk. The next teeth that come through are the molars. The molars come through further along, and the molars are grinders. And what do we grind? We grind grain. And when the molars are fully through, then the glands in the mouth release the salivary amylase ptyalin. So a baby should not have any starch till the molars are through. What age is that? That can be anywhere between 14 and 20.
Now, as we think about this, let's connect it to the gut's microbiome. The introduction of starches too early can disrupt the delicate balance of a baby's developing gut flora. These microorganisms, like Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium bifidum, play a crucial role in shaping digestion, nutrient absorption, and immune health. Early exposure to undigestible foods can lead to imbalances, setting the stage for conditions like malabsorption syndrome or irritable bowel issues later in life. You see, probiotics act like the guardians of the gastrointestinal tract, protecting it from harmful pathogens and ensuring proper digestion. By maintaining a diet rich in naturally cultured foods as we grow, like sauerkraut or yogurt, we can help preserve this balance and nurture a strong, healthy gut microbiome.
So if someone has pancreatic problems, they should go on, and you can buy them from the health food shop. They're often called digestive enzymes, and they contain bromelain and papain, which are proteolytic enzymes, which can help in the final breakdown of the protein. Before we move on further, what if someone has low hydrochloric acid? How can they boost it? They can boost it by eating breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, tea like a pauper, by not drinking water with their meals. But if they have the juice of a lemon in a little bit of hot water just before the meal, that can get the acid up. And 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper in a little bit of water just before the meal, that'll wake anything up. And did you know that cayenne pepper can heal a stomach ulcer? Black pepper can't, chili pepper can't, only cayenne pepper can. Because cayenne comes from the capsicum family, chili from the chili family. Well, students, we're just arriving now at the grand finale of digestion. Do you remember what I said? Anything that goes into your gastrointestinal tract is not part of you or me until it gets broken down and taken into the blood. Lining the small intestine are villi, and the villi basically look like this. And up the middle of the villi is a lacteal. That's part of your lymphatic system. And then all through the villi is your blood capillary network. Now, covering that villi, and we looked at this on Tuesday night, is a thick turf wall, and it's made up of Lactobacillus acidophilus bifidobacterium. Makes a thick turf wall. And that thick turf wall plays a very important role in the final act of digestion. Did you know that when a baby's in utero, there's no gut flora? Their gut is what's called sterile. And when the baby's born, it's literally showered with the mother's microorganisms, and colostrum, that thick, creamy substance that's in the milk in the first few days, it's rich in the gut flora. So what happens when a baby's born and when it has that colostrum? Did you know that a farmer, if the mother dies in childbirth, is that what you call it? if the cow dies in childbirth, what the farmer does, and a farmer told me this, they squeeze that udder and get it into that little calf's mouth. It is so important that that baby calf get that colostrum. In fact, he said, if we can't do that, we may as well kill the calf. It will never, ever be strong. Let's take that to human standards. How important is that? You see, the role that it now plays, this gut flora, it's responsible for the final breakdown of our food. It's responsible for the absorption of the nutrients out of the gut and into the blood. It's responsible for protecting the blood against any harmful pathogens that might be in the gut. It's responsible for the nourishment of the little cells that line the gastrointestinal tract. How important is that gut flora? So what would break it down? Antibiotics break it down. All your statin drugs break it down. Contraceptive pill breaks it down. Cortisones, prednisones break it down. Ibuprofen, regular use breaks it down. Now, when you've got gaps in your gut flora, you've now compromised the final breakdown of your food. You have now compromised the absorption of your nutrients through to your blood. You've lost your border protection. And your cells that line the gut have now lost their nourishment. How important is that gut flora? Hippocrates said all disease begins in the gut, and he didn't know the fine details of what I've shown you tonight.
So once you stop consuming the foods that irritate the gut, it's time to focus on rebuilding the microbiome with probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics like Lactobacillus acidophilus and Bifidobacterium bifidum help to repopulate the gut with beneficial bacteria. These bacteria act as a shield, preventing harmful pathogens from entering the bloodstream and aiding in the final breakdown and absorption of nutrients. Equally important are prebiotics, which serve as food for probiotics. Foods rich in prebiotics, such as garlic, onions, and bananas, help create an environment where healthy bacteria can thrive. Cultured foods like sauerkraut and coconut yogurt not only reintroduce healthy bacteria, but also help coat and heal the gut lining, restoring its integrity.
So what happens if you've lost your gut flora? It can return. How do you return it? And how do you know? In fact, some of the symptoms are diarrhea, some of the symptoms are constipation. It's called irritable bowel. And that's the connection with chronic fatigue syndrome. The person's not getting the nutrients out of their gut and into their blood, so no wonder they've got no energy. You see, God made it so that we've got strong acid in there to wipe out any harmful pathogens. But oh dear, the person's drinking with their meals. Oh dear, the person's eating all day long. They're stressed out with their meals. So hydrochloric acid's low, so the microbes are getting through. Further down, it's all right. It's all right, we've got another system further down to protect. It's the gut flora. Oh no, they've lost their gut flora. Can you see the two processes to protect the blood have both gone down? And so harmful pathogens can get into that blood. So how do we heal from irritable bowel syndrome? Number one, stop. Stop the foods that irritate the lining of the gut. What are the foods that do that? Caffeine, refined sugar, the hybridized wheat. We touched on the hybridized wheat last night, and I'm going to explore it a bit more tomorrow in the acid alkaline lecture. Dairy. I acknowledge that Lou LaBelle in the paddock eating organic grass, who gets milked and made a proper cultured yogurt out of it. That can be healing to the gut. But there aren't many Lulabels in the paddock. If you were to feed the milk in the supermarket to a newborn calf, the calf would die. So sorry, you can't even compare to what's in there. You're best keeping away from it. People say, what milk do you drink, Barbara? I say, I'm weaned, I eat food. Milk is for babies. We're the only creature that drinks milk past babyhood. Number 1, stop all the things that can irritate that lining. Number 2, take a probiotic. What's a probiotic? A Lactobacillus acidophilus bifidus bacterium supplement. Do you know they are the 2 permanent bacteria that live in your gut? All the others come from those 2. Number 3, do you remember Psalm 103 verse 14? God made herbs for the service of man. There are 2 herbs that coat, soothe and heal the lining of the gut, and they're both a bit slimy because the lining of the gut is sliming. I think we all know aloe vera. And aloe vera has a growth stimulant. It stimulates rapid healing in the lining of the gut. The other herb, when you put water with it, it just goes a bit slippery. It's called slippery elm. And slippery elm coats, soothes and heals the lining of the gut. Is it that simple? It is. Let me give you a story of a lady that came to this lecture in New Zealand when I was there about 18 months ago. She said, I'm 70, I've had irritable bowel syndrome for 30 years. She's been on cortisones, anti-inflammatories. She said, the things that you have told me tonight, no one has ever told me. She said, no one ever told me that these foods were irritating my gut. She was very excited. That was Tuesday night. She went home, she immediately implemented everything she'd heard. She had coconut cream on her breakfast instead of cow's milk. She had a bit of honey on her breakfast instead of sugar. She stopped the wheat and bought some spelt sourdough bread. I think she had some millet for breakfast instead of her oat. Some can handle oats, some cannot. She started to have a dandelion instead of her coffee. She immediately implemented. She's 70, 30 years she's been struggling with this. Thursday night, what's that? 2 days, 2 nights. Thursday night she came up to me and she said, I've stopped bleeding from the colon. She said, I have no more pain. She said, instead of going 6 times a day, she said, today I went 3 times. Wow. 2 days. Is she healed? No. But she's on the road. You're the doctor. What has her body just told her? Yes. Yeah? Those cells that line the gastrointestinal tract, they're remet every 3 to 5 days. And by the way, is the appendix a mistake? Does God make mistakes? No. Well, what's the role of the appendix? It has 2 main roles. It's called the colon's oil can. It lubricates the contents to get it through easily, and it also releases antibacterial fluid, so that if what's coming out of here is toxic, how would it be toxic? If a person's eating a high meat diet, which putrefies, and a lot of sugar and alcohol, what's coming out of here is pretty nasty. And so the appendix has to quickly release that antibacterial fluid to sort of calm it down so that it can get it out of your body without poisoning you. Whew. So make sure you eat a lot of plant foods to get that sweeping action through.
From the ileocecal valve, we transition into the large intestine, where the role of probiotics becomes even more significant. This is the region where probiotics actively support the absorption of any remaining nutrients and maintain a balanced environment to prevent harmful bacteria from taking hold. The large intestine is also responsible for reabsorbing water and forming stool, but without healthy gut flora, this process can become compromised, leading to constipation or diarrhea. To restore balance, incorporating fermented foods like sauerkraut, miso, or coconut yogurt is key. These foods provide live bacteria to replenish the gut flora. Additionally, fibre-rich foods like flax seeds, chia seeds, and vegetables act as prebiotics, feeding the beneficial bacteria and promoting a healthy, flourishing microbiome. Thank you for joining me on this journey to better gut health. If you found this helpful, like, share, and subscribe for more life-changing insights. Let's spread the gift of healing and vitality together. Stay well.